After Storm Dara disrupted the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park over the weekend, the Reds' attention now turns to the Champions League and a trip to Girona, where Arne Slot will be hoping to maintain his side's 100% record in this competition. It's an early one this evening, a 5:45 p.m. kickoff as the Catalans host Liverpool in their first meeting with a side from the English top flight. We will be bringing you audio commentary of all the action. Yeah, welcome along to tonight's Matchday Live. Phil Thompson is going to be on the mic alongside Steve Hunter a little bit later on. It's Gary Gillespie and Martin Kelly who are alongside me here in the studio. Much to come from them in a moment. First, though, let's head over to Girona for our first visit, where Rob Jones is waiting for us. Rob.
Becky, thank you very much. Good evening. Welcome to Estadi Montilivi in north-east Catalonia. New opposition, new ground for Liverpool in European competition, looking to make it 6 wins from 6 in this season's Champions League. And arriving here after a break they weren't expecting after the Merseyside derby was postponed early on Saturday morning. Arne Slot makes 4 changes from the side that drew at Newcastle last midweek. And the big news is that Alisson is back in goal for Liverpool for the first time since early October. One of 4 changes from the draw at St James's Park. Also into the team come Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dominic Szoboszlai and Luis Diaz, who all made significant contributions off the bench in that dramatic 3-3 draw. Kevin Kelleher, Jarell Quansah, the suspended Alexis McAllister and Cody Gakpo are those to drop to the Liverpool bench this evening. So let's take you through the team in full then. Alisson starts in goal for the first time since he was forced off in Liverpool's 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace on the 5th of October. It's a back 4 of Trent Alexander-Arnold on one side, Andy Robertson on the other. Joe Gomez reverts to centre-half alongside Virgil van Dijk, who yesterday was named in the FIFPro Men's World 11 of the year. He's played every minute of Liverpool's Champions League campaign so far. So too has Ryan Gravenberch in midfield alongside Curtis Jones. Dominic Szoboszlai just ahead of them. And then the forwards, Mo Salah, who starts the night on 49 Champions League goals. Luis Diaz with 3 in 3 starts in this season's competition. And then Darwin Núñez will lead the line. There's a little bit of an experience on the bench, but the substitutes, Kelleher, Jaros, Endo, Quansah, Cody Gakpo, Harvey Elliott, and then the youngsters Norris and McConnell. Liverpool, you feel, would be pretty much secure of a top 8 finish with a 6th victory from 6. It was interesting to hear Arne Slot yesterday using this as a bit of a guide for seasons to come as to how to utilise this new Champions League group format, when to rest players, when not to. But so far for Liverpool, they have beaten some of the biggest names in European competition in their 5 matches so far. The champions of Spain, the champions of Germany. What can they do against Girona tonight? Can they continue their fabulous 100% record in the European Cup?
We certainly hope so. Thanks very much. Rob Jones out in Girona for us. Much more to come from Rob throughout the course of the evening. But it's a warm welcome to Gary and to Martin. Listen, more on the team shortly. But first, I imagine, Gary, the lads can't wait to get back to it because they've had 6 days off. Obviously, well, yeah. Unexpected because of the derby. But it's rare at this stage of the season that they get the opportunity for that.
I think it'll be a little bit of a welcome break. Obviously, for reasons that the weather was pretty horrendous at the weekend. The game was stormy, wasn't it? It was probably the right decision. So I think they'll have been grateful from the break. I'm sure they've probably been in training over the weekend down at the AXA training ground. So they should be looking forward to this game and fresh. And I mean, they've started the competition in fantastic form, as they have in the Premier League as well. So they're going into this game with a team bags of confidence behind them. Yeah, and with some extra rest, as Gary says, in the bank as well. I suppose there's 2 ways to look at it, because I suppose the flip side is after that late equaliser at Newcastle, they probably wanted to get back out there and back to winning ways, hopefully as quickly as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Everton game was built up to be a real good one, so that not coming didn't help with the weather. But yeah, whenever that comes, I think it'll be a real good game to see. Just excited for tonight and to see if the lads can carry on with the run and the form that they've brought in this Champions League. I think they've done amazing up to now, so it's good to see them all there and ready for the game.
Yeah, we're seeing the lads arrive, and there's Cody Gakpo going to the dressing room. I mean, Gary, I think on to tonight, a win, we can't be certain of anything yet with this new format, but it would, of course, virtually secure that top 8 finish, wouldn't it? And that is a massive incentive.
Well, you would like to think so. I think when you look down the table, like the likes of like the Madrids of this world, like all the kind of top teams in Europe, Bayern Munich have struggled, PSG have struggled as well. They like find themselves languishing in positions where they probably didn't think that they would be. So for Liverpool to start like this competition with like 5 straight victories and top of the table, they put themselves in a wonderful, wonderful position to like qualify in that top 8. And even if they were to like maybe slip up tonight, I still think they've got more than enough to finish in that top 8. Obviously, you want to get the job done as quick as possible. But as I say, like I think they're going into this game full of confidence, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't get the 3 points again tonight.
And they go into it, Martin, with Alisson Becker back in goal as well. Obviously, I think we knew that would probably be the case when we saw that he was on the flight. The boss has been quite firm that he is the number 1, and when he's fit, he plays. Yeah,
look, I mean, Kelleher's done amazing since he's come in. So since Ali's been fit, he's always going to start. So it's a good game for him to come back into today. And credit to the medical staff for getting him back fit, and he'll be looking to get that first game out of the way, I guess. And in a game like tonight, it's not that the pressure's off, but if they win tonight, then it sort of settles us going forward. So to have a goalie like Alisson, you want him to start, and Kelleher's done so well with him not being present. So I'm looking forward to seeing him.
I think it's a little bit harsh on Kevin Kelleher, but purely and simply because the last thing that he's done has been a mistake, isn't it? That's cost us a goal. And whereas like his performances really up till then have been absolutely outstanding. Penalty save off Mbappe, like countless like one-on-one saves that have kept Liverpool in games at really important times, and just that one little lapse in concentration, and he finds himself out the side. But the one thing that you would say, if you've got the best goalkeeper in the world, which we all think that Alisson Becker is, you've got to put him back into the side.
Yeah, and in front of Ali tonight will be Joe Gomez, partner in Virgil van Dijk. I mean, like Quavini, he had a bit of a tough night at Newcastle, but again, like Quavini, when he's been called upon, his performances have been outstanding as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to, I think it was the Brighton game, he had to come on and sub, didn't he? And he done amazing in that. But I think alongside Virgil, the Newcastle game is always hard away. Them fixtures are always tough. So I think alongside Virgil and having Trent next to him tonight in a Champions League game where you sat in top position, it's another good opportunity for Joe tonight to stamp his place with Konate out for another few more weeks.
I think the one thing you would say is there's not such an intimidating atmosphere like you would have thought from a stadium like this, as opposed to going up to St James's where it really was intimidating. And Newcastle started the game really well and put Liverpool under a lot of pressure. Yeah,
it's under capacity of I think under 15,000 tonight, so it's a fairly maybe not quite as intimidating atmosphere as you say. But a lot of people thought maybe because of that, maybe Jarell Quansah might have a game tonight. Gary, what was your thoughts?
Well, listen, you go back to the start of the season, Jarell Quansah was actually like the starting centre back, wasn't he, alongside Virgil van Dijk. He obviously had a little bit of a sticky spell against Ipswich. Konate's come in and done exceptionally well. I don't think anybody would have thought like Konate could have been left out the side. But Konate, throughout the course of his tenure at Liverpool, has had injury problems throughout the course of the season. So I think you feel as if Konate, yes, probably like the number 1 recognised centre back alongside Virgil van Dijk, but you're going to have opportunities because he might get injured throughout the course of the season. So Jarell Quansah, I don't see any. I think we saw enough last season to suggest that he's like a real top quality player. And I think what you've got to remember as well, he's still a young lad learning his trade, and so there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be peaks and troughs. He's got to learn to understand that and appreciate that, and that only comes with age and experience. Yeah,
especially in that position, doesn't it? A quick word for up front as well. It's Darwin Núñez who starts up front. Cody Gakpo in fine form, but you'd imagine we'll see him at some point in the game off the bench.
Yeah, definitely. I think he does his sub so well, done Arne at the minute. So we all love Núñez playing. So I think it's a great opportunity. Like I said, where we sit in this league position, for him to start up front. I don't think the opponents tonight, Girona, will have come up against someone like him up to now. So it's a good chance for Núñez to show the manager again why he should be starting and not that sort of in and out player at the minute. So I think we'll see the subs at some point, but it's good to see that he's getting that start tonight.
Yeah, speaking of the subs, actually, James McConnell's on the bench, James Norris as well tonight, which would be nice for them to get some Champions League minutes.
Well, I think it depends really how the game goes. I mean, if Liverpool are comfortable and like the result, like going into the latter stages of the game, then you would expect maybe to see a couple of youngsters like get bloodied a little bit. But the one thing that we've seen from like youngsters coming in from the academy is they've all got that confidence, they've all got that ability to step up and make like the transition from that level into the first team. We've seen it throughout the course of Jurgen Klopp's tenure, and I'm sure we'll see it again through the tenure of Arne Slot.
OK, thanks both. Time now to hear from the boss. So shortly after touching down in Girona last night, Arne Slot spoke to our very own Rob Jones.
Let's start with the good news. Alisson back in your squad and travelling. How big a boost is that?
Yeah, it is, because he's been so important for us for so many years. And you want to have every player available that is possible. But we also definitely have to give credits to Queef that he did really well in the absence of Ali.
I guess that's the key to having a successful season, to wanting to be in the mix for trophies come the end of the year, that every time you need to call on someone who's traditionally a backup, they come in and don't look at all out of place.
Yeah, in goalkeepers you talk a bit more about backup. In all the other positions, okay, maybe there are a few that are quite clear that are our starters, but in some other positions there's a lot of competition as well. It's been clear that in goal this has happened, that we needed Queef a lot recently, and I think for 7 or 8 weeks now we're only with 4 attackers for 3 positions. So it's in that part it has been a challenge in the last few weeks, but the players have done really well to keep the performances and the results coming in.
When it comes to training and recovery and how often you use players in games, you're so meticulous. Therefore, how difficult was Saturday to have a game called off so close to kick-off?
I think it was a disappointment for all of us, for the Liverpool fans, for the Everton fans, for all the players that were involved in the game and the managers as well. But I think it was a really good decision, because if you saw the clips and the videos about how it was in Liverpool, it was a very good decision in terms of safety. But you don't want to play such a big game in these circumstances. You prefer not to play it like this. But the most important thing was, of course, the safety issue. We were ready for it. We wanted to play that game, but we didn't. And the good thing about that was that we had a few days extra rest in a period of time where we played so many games. But we were in a real good rhythm, so we would have loved to play the game. And if we would have, then we would have been ready for this one as well. But now we didn't, and we should even be more ready for this one now.
This period then, you knew it was coming, but has it felt more frantic, more busy than even you expected?
Yeah, people are telling me a lot that December month is so many games, but if you ask me, October and November is the same for one exception, and that is that players go to the national team. So for me it's an exception, October, November and September before that. But for the players I think it's the same. They have to play in the same amount of games in all these months, and if December is finished, if I then look at the schedule of January, I see the same fixture list again. Therefore it's also an important game for us tomorrow night and the upcoming 3 games. We think we still need 1 win to end up in the first 8, and that will save us 2 games in February.
I guess that is the key then, getting this done, sorted out as quickly as possible. Then you can maybe look to rotate a little bit more for those 2 final group games at the start of the next year.
Yeah, but it's never as easy. You cannot predict when you win a game, because if you play Champions League, every game is difficult. So we just have to be at our best tomorrow to get the best possible result, and hopefully that's a win for us. And if not, then there are 2 chances left for us. It's a different Champions League format, so we are trying to adjust to that. And I think in the end of the season you can say a bit better if it was smart to always play your best players in this group stage, because we have to find out what is best to play the extra round and rotate a bit more during the group stage, or to end up first 8, that is something we can only find out in the end of the season.
I think it's fair to say you've had some Hollywood fixtures so far in the first 5 group games. I guess the message to the players is to treat Girona in the same way you would treat AC Milan or Real Madrid.
Yeah, and they definitely deserve this as well for the fantastic season they had last season. They were incredible. They came close to becoming the Leicester City of Spain last season. They were unable to do this in the end, but they still had a fantastic season. And this season I focused mainly on the Champions League games, and they were, in my opinion, quite unlucky, conceding 90th minute with an own goal of the goalkeeper against Paris Saint-Germain away, conceding 2 own goals against my former club Feyenoord with losing 3-2, missing a penalty, although Feyenoord missed one as well. There was only one game, PSV Eindhoven away, where they got beaten with a 4 goals difference, and in all the other games they were in it and were having a chance to get a result as well. So they deserve our fullest respect, and we have to be on top of our game to get a result here.
I guess that's one of the things for a lot of clubs across Europe that have success that aren't traditionally one of the bigger names, that you can have a great year last year, but unfortunately that often means that people come calling for some of your better players and it becomes more tricky the next year.
Yeah, but if you still look at their playing style, the way they play, they are still a team that is that can be a threat to every team they face. And some seasons, if you have the momentum, you just win this 1 or 2 extra games, and that immediately means that you are number 3 instead of number 9 where they are now. So the margins in football are so small that it definitely has to do with the quality players you have, but it sometimes also has to do with winning a game in the last minute or losing it in the last minute, like we experienced at Newcastle. That could have made a big difference for us as well.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Arne Slot speaking with our very own Rob Jones. We said, joking slightly, the pressure is maybe off a little bit tonight, but obviously, of course, the boss says he is not taking this lightly. I mean, is there any kind of danger, Gary, and Girona being a bit of an unknown quantity at all?
Well, it's the first time they've played in the Champions League, so probably there is a little bit. But I mean, the way life is at this moment in time, there's not too many things that you don't know about anything in the world, and certainly football teams. I'm sure Liverpool have done their due diligence in watching them in La Liga and what have you. They'll have looked at their performances in the course of this competition as well. I think he just wants to get it done. I think that you could maybe sense from that interview that, I'm not saying he's put all his eggs in this basket, but it seems to be that he's picked a really strong side to try and get the job done, to give them that little space in February where maybe he could rotate his squad of players. But I think Girona at home, any tie away from home in Champions League is always difficult, and we'll have to be at our best to get some sort of result.
He spoke about the kind of psychological side of the derby being called off, and obviously it does give them extra rest, but when you're building up to a match, especially a match like that, it can feel a bit of a blow psychologically. But just in terms of the advantage, I guess, that gives him with how he was planning to play it with his squad. He would have had a vague idea of what he was going to play in this game, but do you think Saturday not happening will have changed that a little bit?
Not really. I think, the likes of Trent going into this game tonight, he's got, 3 games coming up this week. Do you manage his minutes after being out with the hamstring? So, no, I think he's had time to plan for this game, and it was always managers at this level, they plan, 6 weeks in advance and stuff like that. So to see the squad that we've got, it's a fully fit one. So Arne's got the luxury of picking, his strongest side. You can tell that from the side he's picked tonight, and from this side, on the looks of it, he's looking to get this fixture, the 3 points, and to let us try and progress with that next games coming up.
We've spoken at length about what a great start that he's made, Gary. I think the conversation probably almost moves on to how does he sustain that really throughout the season. But when you look at the Champions League in particular, beating the Spanish champions, beating the German champions, beating Leipzig away, beating AC Milan away, I mean, it is actually quite phenomenal, the results they've pulled off so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? Like the results, I think, capped obviously by a magnificent performance against Real Madrid. I thought that really was the icing on the cake. I think not just the result, but the performance as well, to totally outplay the Champions League champions as such. So we find ourselves in a really good position at this moment in time. You know, Bayer Leverkusen, I think they kept in the game for quite a long spell, but then Liverpool just wore them down. The one thing that you would say that the two games against these two teams have been at home, which is obviously a plus. It's always like an advantage, I think, European nights at Anfield. And so, like, yeah, I think good results. But in saying that, we still don't know, kind of, with this format, you know, you can still finish like 24th in the table, qualify for the knockout stages, get through, and maybe even like you play Real Madrid again in the final.
Yeah,
you never know, do you? So
yeah, it's slightly confusing. We're obviously watching the win over Real Madrid here, but just to underline the importance, Martin, of finishing in the top 8. If Liverpool don't do that, obviously they then have to take part in these playoff fixtures such as this new format. Now, one of those playoff games would be a few days before the trip to Manchester City, so it's obviously imperative to be in that top 8.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would have been the plan for all the teams in the Champions League this season, but we've, you know, started so well, conceded one goal, and are looking to try and get that win and carry it on. So I think looking into February, the fixtures will be congested. And, you know, the league might look different in Feb, but right now we're the informed side, and anyone we come up against, we look, you know, really good. So I think that, you know, the test against Newcastle was a tough one, but tonight, if with the squad we've picked and the starting lineup, it shows that Arne is trying to, you know, like every other side, trying to get through to this knockout stages. So then, you know, the rest will come, and I think it'll be good for that to come on.
I think it's a bit like when you look at the Premier League, there's no medals, there's no like trophies getting handed out in December. I think the Champions League is exactly the same. Like, you can finish top of this Champions League table, but it's no guarantee that you're going to win the competition. So it's so there's still an awful lot of games to be played.
It's looking good so far.
But it's looking fantastically great. I mean, like what a start in both competitions.
Absolutely, thanks both. Time for us to say goodbye now to our viewers on social media. But if you do want to stay with us, visit liverpoolfc.com/watch for details on how you can sign up right now to LFC TV. Plenty more build-up is on its way after the break, and that includes an interview with the ever-present this season Ryan Gravenberch. As mentioned at the top of the show, Phil Thompson is joining Steve Hunter for live audio commentary from 5:45, and then at 7:45 we'll bring you all the reaction from tonight's clash with Girona. That post-match show, I should say, is also going to be available to listen to as a podcast later on. That is available wherever you normally get your podcasts. And then at midnight, we've got the full match replay for you on LFC TV. It's Spanish opposition for the 9th season out of the last 10 European campaigns for Liverpool, and tonight that opposition, as I say, is Girona. We'll get all the details of the team that will line up against Arne Slot's side after this short break.
So there was a pair of football boots on the side. They were Kenny's, and they were like gold type.